What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with more Bowie, and we're continuing through the 1969 self-titled album, though again, it seems at least a couple of these tunes are from like live radio performances, so I just am going through the material I was given, and in that regard, big shout out to Judith. So yes, I don't know in advance whether this is another one that doesn't come from an actual studio album recording, but is from a radio performance. But either way, the next track is God Knows I'm Good. So I feel like, there's certain songwriters that if I saw this title, I would think it might be sarcastic or there might be more than meets the eye. I'm still in the relatively early days of knowing Bowie's songwriting tendencies or stylings, so I don't quite know how to take it, but I feel, at least when I looked at the title just now, it sounds like maybe a sincere sentiment, but perhaps in the context of feeling like things aren't going your way or the world is not turning in your favor, so you're wondering, it's like, well, God knows I'm good, why haven't events unfolded in a manner reflective of that piety or in response to that good behavior? So yeah, of course it might have nothing to do with that, and it might be, again, not as straight away as the song title would suggest, but that's where my mind went with it when I just looked at it. Let's see what I can pick up on a first listen. This is David Bowie. The tune is God Knows I'm Good, and it's from the 1969 self-titled album. I think.
I was walking through the counters of a national concern, and the cash machine was splitting by my shoulder, and I saw a multitude of faces, honest, rich and clean, as the merchandise exchanged and money roared. And a woman, hot with worry, slyly slipped a tin of stewing steak into a paper bag and sighed. And her face was white with fear in case her actions were absurd, so she closed her eyes to keep her conscience blind, crying, God knows I'm good, God knows I'm good, God knows I'm good. Maybe God will look the other way. God knows I'm good, God knows I'm good, God knows I'm good. Maybe God will look the other way. Hey! Then she moved toward the exit, clutching tightly at her paper bag. The perspiration trickled down her forehead, and the heart it leapt inside her as the hand laid on her shoulder. She was led away, bewildered and amazed. In her head the pounding cash machines were shrieking on the counters as her escort asked her softly for her name. And a crowd of honest people rushed to help a tired old lady who had fainted to the whirling wooden floor, crying, God knows I'm good, God knows I'm good, God knows I'm good. Surely God won't look the other way. God knows I'm good, God knows I'm good, God knows I'm good. Surely God won't look the other way. No. And that was called God Knows I'm Good. On this next number, in addition to John Cambridge on drums and Tony Visconti on bass, and of course David on guitar, we have Mick Ronson, who'll be playing lead guitar, who's recorded on Michael Chapman LPs. Those of you who heard Michael Chapman LPs, one of my favourite singers. And the first thing that the full band will be doing is called The Width of Circle.
Well, apparently we know what will happen next time, and yes, once again, I think this is one of these performances that is not from the album proper. At the beginning, I was wondering, because it had a bit of that, like, live sound to it, but maybe less so than the previous couple. But yes, by the end, I was not surprised to hear the studio audience or the clapping, because yeah, it just didn't sound like a, you know, clean, dry studio recording for an album. Either way, I find it to be a very compelling song. I don't know if I'm hearing the narrative correctly. What I thought I heard is a woman who maybe steals something, puts it in a bag, and again, because maybe she's feeling the weight, the moral weight of her action, like closes her eyes and sort of reaffirms through a motto or a mantra rather, that God knows she's good, so maybe, you know, he can look past this one, he can overlook this transgression. And it sounds like, again, with sweat on her brow and feeling the danger or the risk of what she's done, she tries to leave, but right as she's going out, someone puts a hand on her shoulder, and it, you know, makes her heart jump because she realizes she's been caught. And then there was something about, like, you know, in a crowd of honest people, which, okay, are we contrasting it with her because she's made an immoral action? Even if she feels on a larger scale or on a longer timeline, her moral balance sheet should be in her favor. Like, she's done so many things good. She's always been, you know, pious or honest in her actions, that she feels like maybe this little action in the other direction can be forgiven or even overlooked. But I wonder if these honest people are being contrasted, and I wasn't sure, like, are they actually kind of surrounding her? Are they helping, like, you know, her apprehension, maybe even, you know, pushing her to the ground or something? And then I thought, like, maybe she was still the one that was crying out, God knows I'm good, so maybe he won't overlook this one. Like, maybe he can save me here, maybe he can help me here, despite me being in this situation. But I wondered also, like, is it the crowd saying it now? So, yeah, I don't quite know what's happening. It feels like it's, you know, told from the point of view of someone who's there, but kind of in a neutral third-party context, and who's, you know, witnessed the woman doing this. And I am, again, amused at, like, you know, closing your eyes, kind of like, what I've just done is out of sight, out of mind. Let me just try to, you know, get into this mode where I'm convincing myself that it's justified, or at least that it can be rationalized. And then, again, it sounds like she gets caught and is being led away to maybe, again, face punishment, be taken to jail, what have you. And I don't quite know how the crowd fits in, if they're actually on her side. I didn't think that was the case in the moment. I felt like, you know, they were hoping that, you know, she gets taken away, or even taking a dimmer view on what she's done, because they're so honest and they wouldn't do something like that. So yes, I do wonder, you know, the accuracy of the bits I think I heard and what the actual narrative is. But yeah, I do notice in his songs there's a really distinct type of guitar work, and, you know, I've heard some different variety even at this early stage in his album chronology. And of course, again, like, I remember Mark explaining to me that the first album is kind of its own thing. It's kind of like in the music hall tradition, and it's only this album where he starts to move into what he would then become more broadly known for. But there is this distinct sound of guitar. It's got energy, it's got this, I don't want to say tension, because it's not like uncomfortable, but it has this force to it in a lot of the guitar work I've heard in his songs so far, and it's definitely the case in this one. So either way, shout out to Mr. Bowie, shout out to the supporting band that he mentioned, and as I said, I can only go through what I have, so I know that maybe some of these tunes sound better or fuller or different in the album recording. At some point I'd love to circle back and go through those which have been in this live context here. But yes, this is just what's in the folder. I will continue through it. Once again, thank you to Judith. Let me know what you think. I'll see you for the next one. Peace.